'cause I don't want to.
So, hi everybody, it's Lauren of Wearing History again. It seemed like you liked my last slog, so here I am doing another one. So, I got back from a pretty epic estate sale. It was yesterday and today, and this is my second round. I went back again because a friend wanted me to get him a stereoscopic viewer. If you don't know what those are, hang on, I'll show you. So, this is a stereoscopic viewer. They were Edwardian Victorian thing. So he's wanted one of these forever, and I decided to go back and get it for him because he's really into the estate of this particular person. Yeah, it was $30, but I paid less than $30, so that's really exciting. There were actually two, and one of these days I'm going to get myself one too. It's really pretty, isn't it? Yeah, but I was trying to be good. Of course, I left spending way too much money like usual with estate sales. But anyways, I went back. I got this. I got some other things. So let me know if you want to see more. But today, these are going to go live with my friend Josh. He's the American Legacy Museum. If you've ever heard of him, he's a nonprofit that focuses on telling stories of civilians and people in the military. So I have all of these letters, old letters. I have all of these travel journals from the 30s through the 50s, and I actually picked up a 70s one for him today too. So if you're into old, like, first-hand written accounts, these are really fun. So today I thought I would read a random letter. I'm sure I won't get nearly as much interest on this as I did on fabric shopping, because who doesn't like fabric shopping? But since you guys are also fashion history nerds, maybe you're regular history nerds too. So let me pull in my creaky chair. My table is 1910s, and it's got a significant amount of wear. So let's just pick a random letter. I've only read two. One of them was like, oh, why does nobody write great aunts whatever anymore? And the other one was telling about all sorts of people who died. So I'm assuming that most of these are along the same lines because they're all from aunts back in Nebraska. And this lady lived in Oceanside. She was originally from either South Dakota. I think South Dakota. So here's her name, Mrs. H.B. Davis in Oceanside, California. If you are into history of this area, H.B. Davis was a really big wig in the police force in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. So my friend Josh got some really amazing stuff. Maybe we can talk him into coming and showing some gruesome old police photos. So this letter is from January 21st, 1943, written from Omaha, Nebraska to Oceanside, California. Her name was Alma. The lady, Mrs. H.B. Davis, was Alma. I found that because they were really good note takers. So a lot of the cool old stuff I got actually has notes. Like, look, these hats back here. See that? Those came from here. And they have notes about whose they were and when they were from. So that's really, really awesome. So I can't do anything without tea. Let's see. N.H. Nelson and Company, Brokers, Omaha, Nebraska. There you go. You see that? Let's see what they have to say. Let's see who this is from. M. Bayard, Omaha, Nebraska. Ooh, this is hard to read. It's like a vellum. Can you see that? It's like really difficult. Dear Alma, I am still waiting for that letter you promised some time ago. I hope you folks are all in the best of health and your weather is fine. Not so like ours. It's been 15 below this week. Some better today. Sure kept this oil furnace going night and day, so I am comfortable and don't have to go about unless I want to. I saw in the paper it had been 26 below in South Dakota, and that's worse. Of course, this Oceanside, California is North County, San Diego, so we always have like beautiful weather. By the way, are you getting the Arlington Sun and Regular? I subscribed for you before times, so you should have had it before now for 2 years. If not, let me know and I can remind Mr. Sturgis about it. I'm assuming that's the owner of the paper. It was a small town, apparently. Arlington is changing so much. People moving away and restaurants closing up, empty buildings here and there. I think it will soon be a ghost town. Mrs. Moe died just before Christmas, so Clara had an auction and rented out her farm and is moving to town in March. Oliver's renter is going to a smaller place, so Oliver doesn't know whether to move back and try to get another renter. They had pretty good crops in most places this year, but not most of my corn. It was too soft to crib and I had to sell it right away, and smaller grain wasn't so good, very good either. And my renter didn't know whether he could work it next year or not, so short of help that I coaxed him to stay on for another year anyhow. Maybe the war will be over by then, I hope so, and if not, there is to be much production. No one to work the land to produce, and it takes a lot to feed the nation and the army too. This is really interesting because it's talking about the impact the war had on the farm. I mean, it makes sense. All the young men were going away to war, and the other people were called into production to produce stuff for the war. So who was left to do the food, you know? So I hope you had a nice Christmas. I fared pretty well. Several useful gifts, such as undies and slips. My boss gave me a nice pair of rayon hose. Oh, that sounds appropriate. I got a card and a snapshot of a wedding couple, and it said it was from Alvin and Alice, but it was mailed from Arlington. It must be Albert's son, and I didn't know he was married, and I don't know who mailed it from Arlington either, so unless it was Chris. Did you get one? I also got a card from Alice announcing the arrival of a baby boy. Too bad it couldn't have been a girl this time. Maybe better luck next time. How is Mrs. Davis? Does she keep up pretty well? I suppose love is still without her. I never hear from Mrs. Van Dyke. She never answered my last letter. I suppose Donna and Dolores are all grown up. I wouldn't know them if I met them. Do they like school? This is Dolores' first year, isn't it? I hope Harold don't have to get in the war or go across. Hoping this finds you all well, and write to me once in a while. With all my best love to you, from M. Bayard, Omaha, Nebraska. You know what I like about old letters is they're really a glimpse into the past. I mean, sure, it's mostly full of like crops and who died and who got married, but that's kind of what letters were. This was like the Facebook of their time, maybe. Anyways, it's interesting to hear about the war and what people were thinking about it. There was one that I read before that was from 1941 in January, and you know the United States didn't enter the war until December of 1941, and they already knew what was going on, and they were saying, oh, I hope the war doesn't come over here. Anyways, let me know if you want to hear more. I've got a whole stack of letters. I can read them. I hope you guys are doing well. Bye.